Oh boy. Well guys, I don't actually know how long it's been since I uploaded a video. I've been having nothing but problems with my GoPro. And on top of that, I've just had not enough time to really dedicate to going home and uploading videos. I get home pretty late now, and YouTube giving me the swift kick in the nuts with the whole monetization thing has kind of made me, I don't know, not as eager or anxious to get a new video out every other day. So I think I'm just gonna do them whenever I want, you know? Whenever it happens, it happens. It won't necessarily be a specific upload schedule anymore, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like it had been. I'll just throw them up as time permits. But yeah, did a live stream last night with Chicago Biker POV over on Job's channel, with Job, of course. It's not like we just hijacked his channel. And had a good time. Hadn't hung out with the guys for a while. Talked a little bit about some cycling stuff. We were able to stay pretty much on cycling topics, I think. Had a decent amount of viewers throughout the stream, which was pretty cool. It's getting a little more fellowship, I guess, followership, audience, whatever. But yeah, had a good time. Kind of ended on a downer note, talking about the alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency disorder, disease, gene issues, and yeah. But I wanted to just touch on that. As much as it's a constant, you know, banging drum in the back of my mortality, I don't fixate on it. I don't worry about it all the time. I mean, I do what I can when I can to avoid damaging the liver and the lungs. Now, primarily it's a liver issue for me. Being that I don't smoke and I don't work in an industry that is particularly toxic to air or my air quality, I don't have too much to worry about. Although I have kind of considered that cycling might be a potential harm, especially on bad air quality days, you know? Because I'm breathing in all this garbage, and that's stuff that my lungs has to really work to fight. And the more your lungs need to repair, the more antitrypsin your body tries to produce. And in my case, the problem with the antitrypsin is that a portion of it can't escape the liver, so it gets trapped in the liver and causes damage to the liver. Basically, the genes, they call them folded genes or folded proteins. And the proteins are misshapen because of the genes. And the genes are just the codes that tell the protein to be created, right? So with the bad code telling the genes or telling the protein to fold, it leads to the inability for the protein to leave the liver. Like trying to fit a square peg through a round hole. But in my case, it's only about, well, currently, about 80% makes it out. So I get 20% of that antitrypsin building up in my liver. Now, that's not a huge amount, but any additional wear and tear on the liver just amplifies that. So in short, I really do have to just focus on not doing anything that puts stress on the liver or the lungs. And primarily that's two things: smoking and or drinking. So in my case, smoking is a guarantee of lung disease. Drinking is a guarantee of liver disease, because either one will do enough damage on its own that with my depleted ability to produce antitrypsin, the lungs will not recover from the damage that smoking does, which will lead to lung disease. And drinking only hastens the damage to the liver. So I'm lucky in the sense that I grew up hating the smell of cigarette smoke, so I never smoked. I grew up in a house where both my parents did smoke. My dad eventually quit because he found out that he had this disease, but by that point it was too late. But every chance I could, I would avoid cigarette smoke. I always hated the smell of it. Maybe that was just my body naturally reacting to what it knew was bad for it, right? Who knows? And my family was not really a drinking family, so I didn't grow up really surrounded by alcohol or anything like that. So it was never something that was an influence on me. When I was in my early 20s, I did dabble in the adult beverages, actually primarily before my 20s. But I never drank heavily, right? I didn't get blackout drunk very often, if ever. And for the most part, when I drank, it was more of a social thing. And mostly beer. Not that beer's better, but beer's alcohol content is far less. So in the long run, yeah, I probably did some damage in addition to other stuff. But now, knowing what I know, I'm going even farther to protect the liver. I avoid pretty much any kind of a drug. And I don't just mean like marijuana or heroin or crack or anything like that. I mean pharmaceuticals. Tylenol. Well, Tylenol's not a drug. Yeah, it is. It's regulated as a drug. It's an over-the-counter drug, but it's a drug. Ibuprofen. Oh, it's not a drug. Yeah, it's a drug. It's an OTC drug, but it's a drug. And in fact, I've seen a lot of stuff that basically says that it's some of the worst stuff that you can really put in your body, because the amount of damage it causes is actually pretty intense. Ibuprofen is probably one of the more scary ones, because it's not like Tylenol, right? Tylenol, you can kill yourself on Tylenol if you take a bunch of it all at once. But in low doses, it's really not as harmful. But ibuprofen always is the one that people suggest because it's safer for your liver. What's a misnomer? It's actually worse for you in the long run, because just a small amount of Tylenol frequently, like if you take one Tylenol twice a week, that can cause the production of some of your enzymes that help with your gut and your esophagus to stop, to turn off, leading to acid reflux and other gastric abnormalities, which in turn causes more damage. And that's not a lot. I mean, amount wise. I mean, when we talk about what can actually do damage to you, you got to take a pretty good amount of Tylenol to do damage, but you got to take it all at once. Ibuprofen, you don't have to take very much of it. You just have to take it frequently enough to have the problems. Anyway, guys, fun talk. Drugs and life problems. But I guess I'll end it here, huh? It's a good place to stop at a stoplight. Anyway, y'all, take care. Ride safe.